It is 7 p.m. This is the Londonderry Town Council meeting for Monday, March 16, 2026. Could everyone please stand for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So we're going to start off the meeting today with the election of officers.
Going to make a nomination for Ron Dunn for chair and a nomination for Sean Faber for vice chair.
I'll second it.
I have a motion from
One at a time. You have to do one at a time.
One at a time, I will make a motion for Ron Dunn to be chairman.
I have a motion from Ted.
Second.
Second from Sean. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative.
I'll make a motion for Sean Faber to be vice chairman.
I have a motion from Ted.
I'll second it.
Second from Sean. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. All right. Well, thank you guys for electing me as chair again. I do appreciate it. It is an honor. First up, we have to review the town council rules of order. I want to say a few things real quick. I would like to adopt the rules that the prior council had, but make a few amendments. I think we need to be more respectful of the public's time. I think a lot of things we do up here, we could say in a fewer words than we do say. I think we need to get back to a better decorum. The public deserves a better decorum from us. You know, it deserves us to act in a more professional manner at the meetings. So I'm going to ask that when we have public comment or when you guys want to say something, if you could just address the chair and I will recognize you. Just say, Mr. Chair, I have a question, or Mr. Chair, I have a comment. And then all public comment goes to the chair. Sean is going to take all the questions down. At the end of public comment, any questions that we can answer, we will answer that night. And any that we can't answer that night, we will get back to the public on the next meeting. I think it's important that we answer all the public's questions. Oh, yeah.
Just to be clear,
Yeah.
you said Sean.
So, yes, so Sean, Sean,
I
yeah.
just wanted
Sorry.
to be
Yeah,
clear.
thank
I
you.
didn't know. I wasn't
Nope,
watching
that's-
you.
That's perfect.
So,
Nope. So Sean is going to take down all the questions. Any that we can answer right after public comment ends, we will answer. Anything we cannot answer, we will get back to the public at the next meeting. I think as a council, we shouldn't have any more long speeches. Should try to keep them to 3 to 5 minutes. You know, I think the public deserves that from us. You know, try to be efficient, say what you want to say quickly and efficiently, and I think that's what I wanted to say. Anyone else want to add anything about rules of order?
No, I think that's a good point to make. I mean, the people value our time as much as their own. Sometimes people have their engineers or architects or whoever may be here, and I think it'd be valuable of their own time as well.
Dan? Okay.
I think it's good to get away from some of the back and forth and just, you know, let's get up here, say our piece. We don't all agree on everything all the time, but we can say it. We don't have to debate it.
Or fight about it. And,
Yeah.
you know, like, just let's be professional. Have some decorum. Anything else anyone wants to add to the rules of order?
No, I'm good with it.
So, Mr. Chair, because the rules of order are part of the municipal code, in order to amend the rules of order, you're going to need to schedule a public hearing for April 6th. And if you could please submit the amendments in writing so we can put it out
Absolutely.
to the public in advance. That's what you need to do if you'd like to amend that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we can't vote on this tonight, or we have to wait?
You just need to make a motion to move it to public hearing.
Okay.
We haven't gone through or passed anything yet as far as
Yeah.
municipal code or anything else like
Right.
that. So I don't know. Let's just hold off on this till we get through that discussion.
Okay. All right. I guess I'll put it this way. I'll ask as a courtesy that the members do that. That way we don't have to worry about changing any official rules. Just as a courtesy, just try to keep your comments as concise as possible, value everyone's time, and just try try to direct your comments to the chair, and I will always let you speak. I promise you that I'll let you speak. So, rules of public comment. Does anybody wish to add or subtract anything from public comment? I thought.
He's raised his hand.
Go ahead. Yeah, please. This is.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we would consider reducing the 5 minutes to 3 minutes, or there are other places that's what they do, 3 minutes. I don't know how anybody feels about that, but
We used to do 3 minutes, and then we made it 5,
yeah.
and then even sometimes the public goes over 5. So I don't know. What do you think, Deb? Like, I'm just like, I don't want to limit the public's.
I don't want to
Conversation with
be
us, but-
contrary to anyone.
Yeah.
But I feel we're here to serve them.
Yep.
And if they've taken the time to come and speak to us, out of respect, we should listen to what they have to say. That's personal.
Yeah.
I do think we need to evaluate the agendas in advance and say, okay, there's a lot on here. If the conversation is going long and you look at your clock, this is all up to you, Mr. Chair. If you're looking at it and it's like 10:30 at night, you need to say, or, in advance, listen, we're not going to get this all done tonight. Can we move it out? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, try to look at it in advance so that we can,
Yeah.
not everything can be taken. I don't know. That's
No,
just
that's a
my
good
2
point.
cents.
Because I did have the public contact me about our meeting that went to 1:30. Some of the public didn't want it to go
Exhausted?
that late. So
We were exhausted.
yeah.
At least I was.
So yeah,
I don't know, but that again falls all onto you
Mm-hmm.
to sit there and say, okay, I'm looking at the agenda. There's a lot on here. Is there a way,
Yeah.
even prior to the meeting, to say to the manager,
we
is
shorten
it
the agenda?
possible? Yeah, I
That's a
don't
good-
know.
that's a good
Anybody else
suggestion.
can say whatever they want.
yeah, absolutely.
I just want to add that I know that like at the ZBA,
Yeah.
they have a time limit, and at a certain time, they're going to say, all right, let's reevaluate.
Yep.
Do we continue, or do we put something off and end the meeting at, a reasonable hour?
Okay.
I don't.
I'm
Just a thought.
no, that's a good thought. Because you guys have any suggestions on?
I mean, I think some of our different decorum is going to help with the length of the meeting.
I think that's true.
As far as limiting public comment, I guess I was thinking about it, and I guess I'd probably rather it stay 5,
Yeah.
just for the public.
I probably keep it at 5 just because a lot of people go a little over, and I try to give them a little leeway.
Just a thought.
But no, but
matter to me.
I just
Thought to bring up.
are we good with keeping it at 5 then? Are we good?
Me, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We should keep it at 5.
Okay.
People came here to speak.
Okay.
Let's hear them.
Any other changes we want to make to the public policy?
Would
this- keep-
would this be a time to address something on the agenda?
Unless right now we're setting rules, so it'd be like
Okay.
agenda in general, or
Just agenda in general. I guess I'll say it now, is that we have employees that leave, and I look at the school district, and at every meeting, they have a list of their employees that have retired or resigned, and they say something.
Okay.
We do it at deliberative, and 90% of the people are not there that we say anything about. So I don't know if we want to try to do it real quick at a meeting. If somebody's left this month, and mention their time of service to the community, and just a
Okay.
thought.
I'd be fine with that. Like add retirements or add.
Retirements, resignations,
Okay.
So if the town manager brings it up to us, and, maybe certain counselors can speak to certain individuals, and just, like the school board does, and just say, we want to thank X for 24 years or 30 some odd years of service to the community.
So I could add that to the agenda before public comment.
Yeah,
Like-
I just think it's fresh.
Yeah.
It's fresh. People are leaving. We do it at deliberative, and
Yeah.
90% of the people are not there, and we're,
What do you think, Ted? Good.
I think that's fine to do. I mean, the school district doesn't always mention the people that are listed on the agenda. But
sometimes I've heard them, they talk about it. They might say, Ted Combs,
depends on the situation.
yeah.
but
I
So,
don't. I
That's
don't have
fine
any
to
objection
add
to
that.
that.
And that cuts the deliberative time down a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
You
I'm
good?
fine with that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else to discuss? Or we want to keep it the same?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I will open public comment. Dennis, how are you tonight?
Dennis Martin, 182 Pillsbury Road, Londonderry, New Hampshire. Believe me, I won't be 5 minutes, but one of them is I still like to know what's going to go on with the veterans tax credit that we were supposed to get last year. Are we going to get reimbursed? And what's going to? I haven't gotten an answer to that. And secondly, I'd like to know, now that they're not putting signs up here, political signs between the police station and Grange Hall, that piece of property, am I going to have a problem putting my sign up for the Blues Festival in August, which I've been doing for the last 12 years? So I'd like to know the answer to that, because my understanding, it's no more political signs. So what's the answer to my sign? Because it's not political. It's non-political. So I'd like to know the answer to that. And and I really would like to know more so on what's going on with the veterans tax credit. Okay.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else with public comment? Good evening. How are you?
How are you?
Good.
Robin Stewart, 522 Mammoth. I have two quick things. One, a while ago, I believe it was Mr. Mulholland brought up that there was a possibility we could look into having contractors pay for an independent study for traffic when they're proposing their. I'd like to know if we can do that, or how it has to be brought up to do it, because I'm just tired of hearing there's only going to be 6 cars and 480 apartments.
Right.
It's just not accurate. And the second thing is, I don't know how to continue engaging people, because everything that's been going on, the public engagement just went down the hill real quick. So what is it that this board is willing to do to educate and bring in some more public engagement? That just kind of went out the door. That's it. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you. Good evening, Ray. How are you tonight?
Ray Burson, 3 Gary Drive. I'm glad you addressed issues like public comment and allowing time and so forth, because I think it's important. And yes, you have to control the meeting, and if you have a lot of things on the agenda, you got to move on, right? That's important. But the public engagement part of the thing, I think the town manager has some thoughts in that regard. I think Thursday the 19th, I believe there's going to be something presented, which I think is very important for the general public to participate, to come, and to express their thoughts. It's extremely important that we do engage the general public. I know sometimes at a meeting it can slow things down, and you do need to move on, and you need to address specific things, and I appreciate that. But I'm inspired by the fact that we are looking at engaging the general public and letting them participate. I think we also thought about engaging the young people over at the high school, and we've had some discussion in that regard, because it's their future. So thank you for your thoughts and allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Ray. Anybody else? Oh, Tony. Good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Tony DeFrancesco, 1 Cheshire Court. We just had an election last week, and this is the next meeting, so you know what's coming.
We get our report card?
Congratulations to the folks that were reelected. I'm not going to steal anyone's thunder because there will be somebody later on in the agenda that's going to spout numbers to you, but it was a really good turnout. We still have, I won't use the number, but I can say 3/4 of the people who are registered to vote are not voting. It's either a problem or it isn't. It seems to be everywhere. I'm still wondering when we're going to take the time to look at what we have for a current form of government, do an investigation to see what other types of form of government are out there, to see if there may be something better. Maybe there isn't, but I don't think we know if there isn't yet. And I would like to know if there isn't a better form of government. And I think other people will as well. As far as your report card, I think the citizens, the taxpayers, yet again, did an excellent job of raising the tax rate. We hear for a good 3/4 of the year about how the tax rate is terrible. People can't afford to live here. And yet, year after year after year, at the polls, the taxpayers increase the tax rate. That tells you something. We had roughly 43 between the two forms of government, 43 warrant articles. A couple of them didn't touch the tax rate, but there was 43. The school district had 100% of theirs pass. You all had 6 out of 28 that didn't pass, but a couple of them were very similar. So the Morrison House, I don't know what the story is on that, but on the bond, 79.8% of the people, and that's approximate because I only have approximate numbers. I think you're going to hear official numbers later, but I'm pretty close. Pretty close to 80% of the people who voted said they didn't want to bond anything for the Morrison House last Tuesday. 86% said that they didn't want to Band-Aid it. That was the second thing that you had there. I considered it a Band-Aid, the official title of what it was. You all know what I'm talking about. That tells you something. I don't know what it tells you, but it tells you something. We elect you all to make those hard decisions, to figure out, does that mean anything or doesn't it? That's up to you all to do that. I know what I would do, but I'm not in a position of power. I'm just a person. And so I think you all need to do that. I think that's a pretty strong message, I think. You lost 2 HR things. You lost 2 fire things. And I chalk those up to, and again, this is one person's opinion, it's similar to like when you were in public school. And Dan doesn't remember public school because he has hair like mine. He can't remember what public school. He doesn't even remember what school he went to. But at any rate, it's kind of like when you were in public school and when you had that math thing that drove everybody crazy, you could get the right answer. The right answer was 25, but because you didn't proof your work, the teacher marked it wrong. And you wanted to just go up and strangle her because you had the right answer, but you didn't proof it. You didn't prove it, right? And so I look at what you lost in a similar vein because you didn't prove your work. You had a great idea. Am I going over time?
30 seconds.
You had the great idea, but you didn't proof your work. And what I would suggest to you is you take a look at how the school department advertised, marketed, especially on the fire department side. Send a fireman to marketing school because you said you needed it, you do need it, but you didn't prove your work. So thank you very much.
Thank
Great
you.
job. Congratulations again to everybody. And have have a great term.
Appreciate it, Tony. Anybody else with public comment? Good evening, Christine. How are you?
Good. Christine Perez, 5 Wesley Drive. Although I'm very disappointed at the outcome of the election for town council, I feel I ran a very good, a very honest, very factual campaign. And I'd like to thank all of those who voted for me, as well as those who worked very hard to spread the message of honesty and transparency. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else with public comment? Yeah, I'm gonna get you guys right after public comment. Good evening.
Good evening. Megan Donovan, 45 Chase Road. I just wanted to come and share just a little happy news or something that was nice. Just because I know a lot of times people are like doom and gloom when they get up here. As you all know, the library has been relocated to the police community room. And we're doing really well. People are coming and visiting and things like that. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about a volunteer who I have that reached out to me. Her name is Molly. And Molly is a freshman in high school. She's been a volunteer for almost 2 years. She said, "Hi, Megan. I heard that that there was some damage done at the library and that you would be doing some programs at different locations. Would you be interested in having me read again to the younger kids? Is there another way I could help? I'm not sure how long the actual library will be closed, but I also had another idea. I was wondering if we might have my apologies, it's been a long day.
Oh.
I was wondering if we could have 2 art sessions to create art for this contest. The flyer is attached. If so, I could try to get some art supply donations. I was thinking maybe some small canvases, brushes, and things. Let me know, no pressure. Depends on the library space." So Molly's 15. I think this just shows the depth of our teens, our students that are in Londonderry. And the program she's talking about is called Magnify Voices. It is a program to help shine the light on teen mental health. It's something that I'm very passionate about. In addition to being the head of circulation, I'm the head of teen services as well. And I've been working with the library youth for 15 years directly. So this is something I'm passionate about. I thought it was a great idea. I also reached out to the Arts Council to say, hey, I have this volunteer who wants to come in. We're going to offer a space for the kids to do this artwork. Would you like to come? And it was an enthusiastic yes. Cindy Peterson, who just was appointed to the Arts Council, is kind of taking the boots on the ground for this one, as she's also passionate about youth art. As you can see in the walls here, the amazing talent of the Londonderry youth. So I just wanted to kind of say, like, this is a good thing that's happening. The actual program is going to be on March 25th here after school for 5th through 12th grade. Anybody can come and just work on something. If they want to submit it, they can. They don't have to. But it was just a really, really great community and collaboration between people of different groups and things. And I just wanted to share that Londonderry really does come together.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else with public comment? I'm going to close public comment, and then I have
Ron.
Nope. I'm going to have you and Jonathan. Unless you want. Oh yeah, go. Okay, I'm going to call you guys up.
Sherry Farrell, 4 Hancock Drive. I didn't really plan to say anything, but Dennis inspired me. And I'd just like to ask that you consider what Dennis has been asking. And I've been reading, it's the second time, The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. And I think we often forget what, Dennis, Christine, all those people that are serving young men and women, past and present. And I really think anything that this town can do for our veterans, we should be doing. And I know there are rules and laws, but if there's any way to look a little deeper, because Dennis has asked a few times, and I don't know what could be more important, actually. So didn't plan on it.
Don't go away, Sherry. Anybody else with public comment?
Ron, I got one item.
Oh, great. Yep.
I just wanted to wish everyone a happy early St. Patrick's Day. And for anyone who might have missed part of our meeting, tonight we have Chronicle coming to Londonderry, to O'Shea's in Londonderry. So I want to say congratulations to O'Shea's being featured on Chronicle tonight.
Oh, and
Excellent.
also our senior, our historical center is part of that tonight too. So it should be very exciting. Our own David Ellis is going to be highlighted on it.
That's right.
Excellent. Anybody else with public comment? I'll close public comment. And now I'm going to ask Sherry and Jonathan to come up and give us an election update. Thank you both. You guys want to sit or? You guys want to sit or stand? Okay. That's fine. Thank you both, by the way.
I'm going to sit with you then.
You ordered beautiful weather.
Oh, the weather?
Chalk that up to good planning, Mr. Chairman. Again, let me offer my congratulations, Councillor Combs, Councillor Dunn, on your re-elections. We did have a good election on Tuesday, and as is typical, I just like to give you a recap of some of the numbers, and Sherry has some thoughts as well, I'm sure. So, and I offer these comments on behalf of the so many folks who work and make the election successful. You know, Sherry and I have the leadership roles, but it's really the folks who are doing all the work, and I'd like to acknowledge them. Our election workers, supervisors of the checklist. Interesting story. I'm sure you're aware that the governor and the Secretary of State visited us early in the morning, and the governor specifically called out our alert members for the work they were doing, and was like, we don't usually see this at an election. And we had 3 other groups affiliated with the Secretary of State's office visit during the day for various reasons, and every one of them mentioned our alert folks. So congratulations to them for doing a great job and getting recognized for that. Schools, again, were very, very helpful this year. They transported all our equipment back and forth, all the way from the school board to the administration, our custodial facilities staff. So really want to acknowledge their contributions, and always police, fire, and our town administration. So it really does take a team. So collectively, we had 4,436 voters come through the door, and that includes 152 same-day registrations, which is a recent record for us. I couldn't go back any further, but it's typically in the 10s and 20s, and we had 152 at a local election, which we think is terrific. And Sherry, my notes show we had 220 absentee ballots. How does that compare with?
Pretty much our average. We had we actually sent out about 229, and only 10 didn't come back to us. And the wonderful thing is, usually we get a couple the day after the election, and it was just so nice that none have been returned to us yet, because you feel horrible if a vote isn't counted.
So with the combination of the same-day voters and the absentee voters, excuse me, we had 25.5% of our registered voters, of which we have 18,293, so 25.5% participation, compared with 21% last year and 23% the year before. And we won't talk about 2023 when it snowed, because participation was way down that year. Our lines were quiet. You folks were there early, thank you. And about 9 a.m. it picked up, and we were very steady all day with roughly 400 voters an hour, right up until 7 p.m. And thank you again for approving the purchase of the additional voting tabulators, the voting machines. We had maybe a minimal line occasionally for voters waiting to cast their ballots, but really we eliminated the lines. So thank you for that. I think our voters are very thankful as well. We also, on behalf of the Ballot Law Commission, we piloted the Voting Works high-speed scanner for our absentee ballots. We did an audit of that exercise the following Thursday, so last Thursday, and the scanner accurately tabulated the ballots, which is really what the purpose of the audit is. Just a couple of other anecdotes. Kids Vote, our second year doing Kids Vote. Kudos to them. We had 428 voters this year versus 400 last year, so they're expanding. And the governor took great interest in that, and I think talked to the assistant principal about maybe expanding that further around the state, so good for Londonderry. And then I did mention that we had several affiliated groups with the Secretary of State's office visit us, and another compliment offered. The day after the election, the Secretary of State's chief of staff called me, and one of the groups was looking at our poll pad operation for different reasons, and they wanted a compliment. There were 4 of them. Kristen Grages, our chairman of the supervisors of the checklist, I guess she was phenomenal with information and suggestions for them, so she got a nice nice call out from the Secretary of State's office. So that's all I have, Sherry, and then we'll take questions.
Thank you to everyone, to our citizens, to all of you that were there, the school department, the town, everyone working together. It's a beautiful sight, and when we do, we accomplish so many great things, and it was a true success. The only thing just a little shout out to a couple people. The day on Monday, as we were as we were setting up for the election, Ray came in and he said to us, he said, "Hey, I don't see any signs. I don't see, anything out on the common to let people know that we have the town election." And, and I know it's been in the newspapers and that's all good. We've had it on our social media, things like that. But I think Ray brought up a really good point, because the town common, other places in town, signage is such an important thing. And I'm just going to say again, I mentioned this maybe a year ago, that if we could at some point, if we have the funds, generally it's between $25,000 and $40,000 to have one of the electronic message boards like the school has, we could have had that out there about deliberative, about the town, our town meeting, which is our town election, and so many other things that are happening. So just something, if that money is ever available, or if there's ever a sponsor out there that would want to donate something like that, put your name on it. But I just think that we could really unite the library, the police could use it, town hall, and then we'd have the school one separate. We've already had the company out a couple times throughout the years, so I'd ask the council to just kind of keep that on your radar. If there's extra money available, it would not be wasted. And then the next thing about the election that I thought was just pretty powerful, our John Wilson from our Senior Resource Committee, he worked for 2 years, and you all know that, on Article 22. And he worked hard. He was at some of those long meetings. Senior Resource Committee, R. Kelly, everyone on that committee worked hard to support him. But it's just so impressive that, John, at beyond 79 at this point, he didn't give up. He pushed. We kind of, it didn't work out the first year, but as often happens, these things come back in the second year. It did. Not that it was on the ballot the first year, but still just how impressive that John didn't give up against many odds, and it passed. So people listen when we speak or when we get the word out there too. So kind of like what Tony was saying about, advertising and getting, getting the information out to our citizens, because they make great decisions when we do. But that was the only two things I had, and thank you to all of you, because it was really a great, great day, and the weather helped. So,
Any questions from the council? I'd just like to say the Secretary of State told me that we run one of the best elections, and that he enjoys coming to Londonderry to see what we do and how we do it. And they actually sent the film team in later on in the evening to film what we do. So congratulations to both of you for running an amazing election. And at the state level, it's one of the best. So thank you.
Very kind, thank you.
Excuse me, Ron.
Yeah,
Before we go any further,
Yeah, please.
I'm sorry I missed public comment.
Oh.
Not for you.
No.
I'm sorry. My husband just texted me to say, let's not forget the girls' basketball team.
Oh, yeah.
Please. So they were. He was there. He just said, Deb, remind them that they won and they're state champions. And
Yes, congratulations.
Kay, Auntie Kay is very proud.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Deb, for bringing that up.
Yep.
That's one of the other thing we could do.
Yeah.
We do the retirements, do the thank yous for that,
Huh?
Congratulations and thank yous when we do the retirements. We could do that.
Yeah.
It's very good. Thank you for bringing that up. All right. Up next, we have board and appointment reappointments. Appointment of the tax collector.
Chairman,
Oh, sorry. That's right. I'm sorry.
we
Yeah.
said we would answer the public's questions.
Oh,
Yep.
yes.
Yep. You're right. And you also wanted to make some comments. That's right. Yep. Sorry. So, was there any questions we can answer today?
So there's a question on the veterans tax credit.
Yes. So, yeah, I wasn't paying attention when you said which Sean, so I wrote down the questions.
Okay. Oh, cool. Oh,
So that's one of the, he also asked about his sign.
Yep. Yep. That was the second one. But yeah,
okay.
I was giving them one at a time, so we.
go ahead.
You can answer them both if you want.
Okay.
Good. So, yeah.
So the sign, that was the first one I wrote down. So I don't see an issue with that because we're advertising an event that occurs on the green over there. Political signs are a totally different thing, so I don't anticipate an issue with the sign that has the Blues Fest like we've always had out there, because it helps to
I always put it out about 3 weeks ahead.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. I don't see an issue with that. That helps to accentuate the different events we have going on in the green over there. I think that's a good thing. I don't see a problem with that. If it's the political signs, there's plenty of places for those, and you can see the whole side of the road littered with them. It's sort of a collage thing, but I don't even know. It's a blur when you try to drive by it. So I just don't want them to avoid that. There's plenty of places to do that, and I prefer they not be on town property. That the school allows that, that's fine. That's where the voting place is, but I prefer not to have political signs on town property anywhere. But your sign's not a political sign. It again, it directs people to an event that's going on our property that helps talk about the concerts we have on the green that we don't have to pay for. So it's part of, I call that as part of our culture and entertainment events, and I think that's a good thing, so I don't see a problem with that. Veterans credit, you folks need to answer that. You have plenty of information. I've talked about this several different times. That'll be up to you to answer that question.
All right, so the rest we'll get back to.
Yeah.
And then you wanted a few minutes to speak, sir.
Well,
Well, there was a
Oh, sorry.
traffic study,
Yeah.
and then the public engagement. Those are the other two.
So the traffic study, I did make that statement before, that I think we should be the ones that, we should be hiring the entity that does the traffic study. Right now, they're hiring somebody and we're hiring somebody, so the developer's paying twice for that, and then they're working for the developer, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I made that suggestion, but we're not the ones who make that decision. That's a planning board decision. They decide which consultants they're going to use when they choose to use them, and those are part of their site plan and subdivision regulations, so that's a decision they make. It's not a decision that the council makes. So I want to be really clear about that, how that process works. But I do think it's a good practice to do, and I think it could save time and money for everybody involved. So there's the answer to that. Public engagement. We've had a number of events. We have one coming up again, this on a strategic plan. There've been several of those, and there's actually another one planned for the Baldwin. So we've had a number of those. We'll continue, the same thing with the ethics policy, and they've been very successful with getting good input from folks. I expect those will continue. I didn't see any direction from the council to the contrary. In fact, the first one we had, I thought, was very well done. A lot of good public comments, so I expect that we're going to continue those. I don't think that's going to change. But I don't think that's what they were really referring to. I think they were referring to a particular planning board meeting. I did get a lot of phone calls that people were upset, and they felt that they weren't heard, and they felt members of the planning board made certain comments that indicated that. I didn't go to that meeting. I can't answer for that. Obviously, Councilor Faber was there. You could speak to that a little bit better. Yeah. I think that's what they were referring to, not the general public engagement sessions we have been doing, because those have been pretty well received.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Please.
Just on the planning board hearing, I'd actually encourage everyone to watch that. So it's a message that we've been trying to get out on what's evaluated when these plans get approved or denied. And it took a little bit, but I think the crowd started to understand we're not doing this based on feelings. We're not doing it based on if we support or it's not a judgment call, it's a legal call. And it's saying, you're not listening to us, and it's not about if we feel like something shouldn't be there or if it's not going to benefit the town, or those aren't factors that we take into account. We're interpreting rules and regulations, and we have to do it that way. And one particular gentleman had said, well, if I would have known that, I wouldn't have came to this meeting and wasted 2 hours being here, just to view their opinion. Their opinion is important. People can say whatever they want in public hearings, but there are only certain things that the planning board can take into account. So it's not about not listening or not caring even. It's about we've got to interpret the rules and regulations of the law. And so that would be a great meeting to look at, just to kind of see how that goes, see the back and forth. I thought it was a good discussion.
Dan wanted to add something.
I just want to, I guess, get a consensus from the council as far as this traffic study goes. Is that something that we as a council want to let the planning board know this is something they should look at? I mean, if we have a member of the planning,
I don't think
on
we
the
have
council.
jurisdiction over it. I think the planning board has to decide that. We don't tell them to go do X.
Right.
They've got to decide that as an
But
independent.
we have a
board.
representative from the council on the planning board, who, if we as a council say, this is something we think we should be looking at, that person on the council that's sitting on the planning board should advocate for that and, say, let's look at this.
We can ask, but that doesn't mean they have to.
Right, I know they don't have to, but I'm just saying, is this something that we could
for me, I prefer to leave planning board things to the planning board from that aspect of it.
But you're the representative from the council, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So, you know, you're here from the public saying this is something we should look at. I don't know. Thought I'd bring it up.
Good. Continue, sir.
There was just one other, just a comment, Tony was talking, and one of the fire department's positions did pass. So I just wanted to clear that up, unless something changed when they did the verification of the count. So that was good news, and I looked at it that, you know, we didn't get everything we asked for, but the public, you know, thought it was important to at least provide one. It's hard to tell what, you know, different voters had different mindsets, but I think the voters did a really good job, as Tony indicated as well. And but that one did pass, and you know, but that's forward progress. I consider that good. I don't see this as a loss. We didn't get the other position. I think we were gracious. The voters gave us one additional position, which certainly helps out. So thank you to the voters who were out there listening, because that was helpful to us to keep moving the town forward. And then I just had some things I needed to, unfortunately, I don't like to dwell on the negative. However, I do need to clarify some information that's not correct. There was a Facebook message that was put out by Councilor Faber that, and I'll read the quote here, and the information is not correct, and I'd like to get that clarified. Without policies like this, and I don't have the whole message. It references who he's advocating for the council, because that's not my issue. And he's referring to policies that control the manager. Without policies like this, the town manager will continue his unchecked spending, such as handing out raises which average 16%, even as high as 25%, and burying in over 800K, it says contract, in the default budget without voter approval or town council knowledge. Ron Dunn and Ted Combs have worked together with me to prevent this irresponsible behavior in the future, in addition to saving the taxpayers over $1 million during the budget season. So it's really important to make sure we get the information that goes out to voters is correct. And that is simply not correct, and I'm going to show that information to be able to prove that today. So just on the OpenGov contracts, because that's what we're talking about, the OpenGov, there's two of them, asset management and the licensing and permitting. It's not $800,000. It's actually just over $500,000 between now and 2030. So it's certainly not, this would make you think that this is occurring $800,000 in 1 year, which is not correct. So, and we had that information has been put out. It was put out to the council on December 11th. The document was passed on. So the council was aware of that, but I want to go back even further. Before I even came here, this discussion came up with Councilor Faber during the hiring process. And I talked about this program. There's been discussions ever since then. There's been numerous emails that have gone back and forth. So that is just simply not correct. And I'm going to show a particular video or council meeting where this is a couple of videos of council meetings during the budget process where this was discussed.
This is a waste of our
The
time.
average salary, if you let me finish, sir. The average salary increase, 16 and 25%, is simply not true. The average salary increase is 5.3%. Most of them are between 2 and actually 6. And I've yet to find anybody who has a 25% increase. So that is also incorrect. So I want to show, again, I want to provide the evidence so that people out there actually know the truth. And we're going to show segments of the council meeting in his own words where he makes those statements. So if you would put that up there.
Thank you. Ron? Yeah.
I think it needs to come on.
Information technology.
I have one. So in the management service line, I noticed that in 2026 it was 339, and in 2027 the departmental budget is 630, which is a pretty big increase. Is that the increase for OpenGov, and that's the difference between that, or is it the 44,000? It's on page 40 of the budget book.
So the biggest changes in IT are, there's a couple of changes. One is software and one is salaries.
Okay.
Remember, you know,
Yes, yeah. It's the software, because we basically doubled from default from 1 year to the next. And I thought the default budget was only things we had a contract for, so it was just contractual.
it is.
Okay.
So I entered into those contracts,
Okay.
And the purpose of those is both those programs, remember, one is paid for by building permit fees,
Yep.
and the other is going to be paid for by grant.
Right, that's right, okay, that's what I heard.
You gotta create a good environment, you gotta have a place people wanna work, and we have that in this town, which is why we retain great talent like Justin and Sarah over there.
You need to
Because
stop
we have
this.
a great place to work, and it's the intangibles of it. You can go chase money elsewhere and work in a less competitive environment. And I'm not even disagreeing with the raises, I'm just
Yeah,
saying it's
he lies.
Right.
And I understand the contract in the email, I'll start with that. How much of this 212K next year spend are we contractually obligated to already where there's no way around? Zero. Okay. Thank you.
There's an appropriation clause in contract.
After this, we need to come. Yeah.
Yep. Again, asking for clarity. Don't have a photograph remember.
You probably do something
And
else.
I need to respond.
What's that?
You probably do something else if you did.
Yes. Maybe not. Well, that's your question. When we went through this software, I guess, what alternatives did we look at? How did this come about? Let me get more specific, that's too general a question. I guess, what other options were considered besides that as a vendor?
The SNA was an element that I looked at. So I've been through this whole process before. The SNA Tyler also has products, but those get matched with your larger ERP program, and it's more expensive. So the SNA had a number of challenges with it.
How long are you gonna go on and do?
I don't know what it was before. The other thing about OpenGov is it has open architecture. If you're gonna make a change with BSNA, you have to pay them for every little change that you're gonna make. Whereas OpenGov has open architecture, you can go make the changes, you know, all that.
Yeah, this is not concise.
That's a lot more expensive cost in the long term. You know, you get that right away if the prices is lower. But then you pay for.
I asked it to tell him to wrap it up.
Do that, for instance, every time you add like site plan, change the site plan process, subdivision regulation plan application process, you change that every single time. And they have to do that, they can't do it. So that's why.
So
That's why they really help.
Makes sense.
this is taking over the meeting.
Sean, can I just ask you, at the beginning of the
This
meeting?
is almost over.
I know, okay.
This whole budget is hard. It's hard because every single thing is painful. Every single thing requires something. If we don't cut it, it's painful, people are upset. I guess my gut reaction to this is if we've got a bill of 212, you know, we're trying to cut 370 because we cut 30 last week. Do we put this on hold for a year and kind of just analyze it? I feel like this really rushed and bowled me over with it, where I feel like you got away from me and we didn't really have a grip on what's going on. I see the value in it. When you were talking to me about it, when I saw the presentation, I do see the value in this. I feel like this just got rushed and ran through, and I hate making snap decisions when I'm trying to deal with Water Johnson's money. And I just feel like we should almost have more time to mull this over. Yeah. No. We do. But I'm trying to, like, if we don't want that service and everything else.
This is not almost over.
It's most of the way there.
Can we get the truth?
I don't know. This is why I'm looking for suggestions from you guys too. This shouldn't just be me coming up with ways to save the taxpayers money. I'm looking for all five of us to come up with any budget community.
It's getting way out of hand.
I know. You know, what should we? Because I'm trying to get to this now. And so I'm
This isn't about the
this is
election.
painful, too. I don't necessarily want to.
Sean, how much, like,
If I gotta pick something.
You're gonna make a comment here that
Okay.
seals this
You
issue.
know, this is where I sit, so.
because
So
I just said at the beginning of the meeting, sir, that we're going to try to make our comments in 5 minutes or less.
Yep.
And
I'm not a
you-
member of the public, though. I'm a member of
I
the
know, but
Doesn't
you
matter.
you had said you were going to keep it concise, and I'm just asking
am.
you to respect your time, because.
So can I respond?
So am I.
So can I respond?
So if I could finish, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. Finish
Okay.
and you can respond.
So,
How's that?
Concisely finish.
Yeah.
We had a government official that put out information that is incorrect. I'm clearing it up by using his own words.
Yep.
The council was well aware of this. The council could have appointed $0, but it didn't. It approved a budget with this amount of money in it, which went to the voters. So that it's not true that the council did not know about it and it was hidden in the budget. That's not true either. That's important to get that out. The information about the salary increases was also incorrect. It's important that these people get their correct information out there. So that's what I'm trying to do here. I know it's uncomfortable. My objective is not to attack him. That is, I'm tired of this business, the toxicity, the politics here. But he's the one that made this statement, and he signed it as vice chair of the council. So that goes out to people. They believe it. Because it came from a government official. It's important to clarify that, because during the budget process, the council was well aware of that, made a conscious decision to do that, and it's important that people understand that.
I think you made your point.
I think I
So,
have. Thank you.
I just ask everyone to be more concise. Can you be concise, please?
I'll be
please.
as
Yes.
concise as he
Yes.
was. So if anyone wants to look up the OpenGov contract, it was signed in August 15th, well before the budget hearing. So yes, we all knew about it during the budget process. We're discussing the budget process. We're discussing. There was no finalization made in any of those meetings because we were going through and trying to analyze what we were going to cut. The budget committee, and you can watch the budget committee meeting a week before we have to have our warrant articles out, requested OpenGov get on the ballot for the voters to have a choice. Ron and I went into Sean's office at 3 p.m. that Monday and also told him the warrant article needs to be displayed in that meeting. It was not. This was hidden from the public and kept away so that this would pass because this is something Sean wanted. The contract was signed before it was presented before the council in September. If you watch the September meeting, all the language appears to be like we're going to be having further discussions. We asked questions about it. We didn't find out this was signed until December, about December 6th. And we didn't find out from Sean. We found out from someone else that this got signed. None of the council knew at that point in time. When asked about it, we have weekly updates from the town manager once a week with mundane little things. You think and I'll be correct on the amount, $678,000 contract isn't anything we'd like to care about? I don't like this back and forth either. This was inappropriate. It has nothing to do with what is on the agenda, and it was purely yet another political stunt. Thank you.
All right. Can we move on?
I'd like to add something here.
Okay. Can you be concise, please?
I'm gonna be what I'm gonna be what I am.
Okay.
You know, I take offense to we get up here and we say we're all going to work together. Town manager has a point to make on something that was put out. Councilor Faber, you sit there and you say he's a liar.
Yes.
I take offense to that.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
And I think it's totally inappropriate for you to do that. We cannot, as a
talked about
board,
having
work
decorum.
together.
I know.
All right? If this is going to be going on back and forth. You and I have had discussions, Sean, about working together. And I'm more than happy to work together, but
Dan,
let's stop the attacks.
All right. Let's stop. We just said we weren't going to do this anymore.
did the
So
attack
please,
come
let's
from
stop.
first, Dan?
Just stop. We're going to move on.
Came first from you,
All right.
Sean.
We're moving on. Boards and appointments. Appointment of the tax collector. We have to appoint the tax collector tonight. Any discussion about that?
Yeah. I would like to amend the statement and make the amount of the salary $84,455 and remove the line about the COLA.
I will second that motion.
I have a motion from Sean and a second from Ted. Discussion? Or do we want to?
That's on the salary or?
Salary, yep.
So London is the lowest paid tax collector.
No, it's
No,
in
it's
the middle.
putting it in line with other raises instead
would
of
put
going
it at-
down the road.
Well, I'm
of
looking,
large-
I'm just looking at the sheet, John. It says 103, 106, 120, 87. Well, currently is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying currently we're at the
Yeah.
lowest. Okay. All right.
And that translates to a 5%
Yep.
increase, which I think the town manager just said is the average that's going in town.
Why do we appoint her every year?
Law.
State
Yeah,
statute.
we have to point.
Because other towns, when I look at other towns do it for like 3 years and stuff like
That's
that.
usually a tax collector clerk. And they're one. And then it's like you elect the clerk every, 3 to 4 years or something like that. That's why you see it that way. And we used to do it that way when Meg Seymour was here. She was a clerk, elected clerk, which needs to be said as opposed to just a regular clerk. She's the elected clerk and then the tax collector. That's how we used to do it, and then we split it, and that's how we got this.
Because I remember we used to, I thought it was 3 years, but I was
Because it
just
used to
questioning
be-
why we do it 1 year. That's all.
I mean,
I-
you could speak.
I think the amount at least goes back in line with what the town manager just said. He's working at like 5%, so that way we're not being unfair to different parties.
Yeah, in terms of the term, that's a decision that normally is made at town meeting. So at some point, they made it 1 instead of 3. So I don't know how long ago in history that occurred.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? I have a motion on the floor and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed?
Chair votes in the affirmative.
Their meeting, you have to talk
Mr.
about it.
Chair.
They were appointed
Yeah.
by you, so.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I'll allow you to speak. I didn't know you wanted to speak, so.
Well, now that it didn't pass.
Okay.
It was,
Yeah.
so this went out, over a week ago, and nobody has come to me to question it. Taking my COLA out since I've had it, since I've started here, is very unfair. The number in there right now also includes my $5,000 stipend, so that amount does not include just my raise. That also includes the $5,000 stipend, as I'm sure Sean has told you guys.
Okay.
So those numbers look very different. I also, when I first started as tax collector, I took over for somebody, and when I moved into that position, I took almost no raise to be able to prove myself. And what I was told the whole time was, at some point in time, you're going to be, you'll get up to where you're supposed to be. I've now been there since 2019. I've been in this position for 4 years. I've had not one complaint. I've helped every single resident that I've ever come across. To take away the COLA is absolutely ridiculous. And then I would love to have had a
I withdraw
discussion.
taking away the COLA. I didn't know that was always there.
Yeah, it's always been there. Yeah. And then I would have loved to have had a discussion with any one of you. The only person that reached out to me was Dan this week. And if everybody had this on their plate, and to wait for tonight for me not to be able to, defend myself is pretty unfair. I wish that any one of you, if you had a problem with the salary, that you would have reached out to me. It was in public, it was sent to you all, and nobody said a word. I work a lot of hours. I do a lot more than actually is in my job description to help out. I'm a revolving door to every single one of those clerks, and I just wish you would reconsider. That's all.
Okay.
And no one doubts how hard you work. I think the unfortunate aspect of this is the other raises that were given out, and we're trying to keep stuff in line, and we can't say those raises were okay and not give out other large raises. I thought the COLA was added in addition. That's the only reason I took it out. So we still wanted to give you something towards that, but not where we're in something where like 18%.
So
and
if you go to 84, then right, but then that
But
can't
yeah,
include
the
my that can't
5,000.
include my stipend. Then
No, it
I
shouldn't.
was told that this was going to include my stipend. That would be just unfair.
So then we can
Okay.
add that because that's what
Yeah,
5,000.
so I would still have my stipend for my.
Yeah. We're not.
So the 84 would not include my COLA, so my COLA comes up in July.
Yep.
And then I would still get my stipend.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's.
Is that
So
something
just
you
to
guys
make
could
sure
talk
that's
about?
Yeah.
correct. Thank you for
let's fix that.
correcting that.
And it wasn't anything personal. We're just trying to get all the.
And
we're,
I
we're trying
totally
to get
understand
it all
that,
back to
and I
5%, like
respect-
right around 5%
Yep.
for the increases, because we don't want certain people to say, oh, we favored them, or we
Right.
favored this person, we didn't. So we want to try to keep it around 5%
I
for
just
everybody.
wish that anybody,
So-
Dan did reach out to me,
Yep.
but anybody would have reached out to me before tonight. Because when it went out and then I don't hear anything, I'm assuming I'm coming in here.
Yep.
Maybe ask a couple questions, whatever, but, we've all had a week to discuss it and nobody asked me anything. So that's
That's fair
my
enough.
thing.
So you're going to
So-
entertain a motion to change this?
Yes.
Yep. So I'll amend my motion to change that amount and then put the
COLA back in?
The COLA can stay. That's
Okay.
my amended.
Do you want to second it, Ted?
I will second that. I had was under the understanding that COLAs for this position never existed before, and I thought this was new.
Yeah,
So
no, I've
my
had a COLA
apologies.
since I first
My
started.
apologies.
That's okay.
Okay. No, I'm willing to fix it.
Yeah, I'm willing to fix it.
All right, I have a motion from Sean and a second from Ted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative.
So
Thank you.
You didn't address the issue about a stipend, so it's not included.
Oh, sorry, okay.
No,
Include,
including the stipend.
including the stipend.
Yeah, so
Yes.
make the amount 89,455.
Okay,
So
Right.
89,455.
plus the COLA. I have a
Yeah.
motion from Sean, second from Ted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Say exactly what it is again, so we understand what we're
89.
voting on. Whether we-
455.
How much?
89,455.
Plus a COLA.
Plus,
And the COLA stays the same.
Yeah.
We're not changing that.
Right.
We're only changing the number.
okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
for
for
speaking
listening.
up. No, I appreciate it. We want to get it right, so
Yep.
we're just trying to do the right thing so that everyone feels like they're treated fairly and not unfairly, so. All right, cool. Next up, appointment of Fire Chief James Young as the Emergency Management Director. Any discussion?
I'd actually like to make a motion to have Phil LeBlanc be the emergency director for the town, as he currently lives and resides within the town. When our fire chief resides much closer compared to an hour and a half away, then I will certainly motion to make him our emergency management officer. Where if something happens in town and our chief is sleeping at home, an hour and a half to 2 hours away, I think would be better off to have someone who actually lives here instead.
Any discussion?
I'd agree with
That's
that.
not bad.
I mean, I talked to the fire chief. His plan is, to move here ASAP, so.
Yeah, and we can change.
Once that happens, I'm
Is-
more than willing to amend
That
to
seems,
have him
actually,
do
that
so.
seems very
but-
reasonable. Any opinion, sir, from you, or? I'm
Yeah,
just-
because I recommended the fire chief.
No, I'm just thinking Ted has a good point, like, if he's an hour and a half away.
What does that got to do with being the emergency management director? He's not responding to emergencies. It's directing the, if you have a flood or something of that nature, he can be here on site to be able to handle that in advance, and he's doing all the preparatory work. And now you have a department that has the gravitas and the authority to be able to do things where we have a deputy chief who's now third down on the rung, and he really doesn't have any authority to do much of anything. So that's why I recommended the department head to do that, as it is in most communities. But it's up to you. You have
No, I'm just-
broad authority to appoint
I-
whoever you wish.
Got a good point.
I thought it was a reasonable suggestion, though.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm good with Ted's.
but,
But he's the third one down the line.
Deb, any opinion from you?
If you want to make a motion.
And you do have a good point.
Yeah.
Because if we, or should it be Fred then, or Fred second?
Either way, I
I'm
think
just
that there
thinking-
should be someone who lives and resides much closer nearby in case there's an emergency that breaks out.
Yeah, I'm fine with
As
that.
soon as the fire chief moves closer to town,
Okay.
I'd be more than willing to amend.
You want to ask them before you appoint them? to
Yeah,
this
so why don't
august
we,
position?
put this,
Yeah.
we'll make the decision in the next meeting,
Yeah, that's fine.
all right? Is that fair, everybody?
Yep.
Is that good with you?
Put it off, yep.
Okay, all right. We'll move that to the next meeting.
Thank you.
All right, we don't have any public hearings tonight. Under new business,
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
If I may make a motion?
what's your motion?
So I motion to table TC 901, TC 100, both changes to the municipal code, and TC 105.
For what reason?
With a tabling motion, there's no discussion. So I just want to make sure we get it right. So it's TC 901, TC 100.
Both changes to the municipal code, one listed under number 3 in new business, one listed under number 1 in old business.
Okay. So I have a motion from Sean to table TC 901, TC 100, municipal code, and what was the other one?
Both changes to the municipal code, both under old and new business, and TC 105.
And TC 105, so 5, TC 105, And the one under old business, you said?
Yep.
Discussion schedule, so municipal
So-
code.
I'm sorry, may I ask for clarification? You said TC 105, that's on number 4 under new business. The one under old business is the code of ethics.
Yep, I understand that.
Okay.
Okay. So, code of ethics. So we have 5 things? Okay. 100, 901, TC 901. So I have a motion from Sean to table TC 901, TC 100, TC 105, municipal code, and the code of ethics. Is that correct, sir? Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
A
So
second.
those have to be done individually, by the way,
Okay.
are on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, then I'll make a motion to table TC 901.
Okay, I have a motion from Sean.
Second.
A second from Ted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Chair votes in the affirmative.
Motion to table TC 100.
Second.
I have a motion from Sean, a second from Ted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Chair votes in the affirmative.
Deputy vote.
Motion to table the municipal code, repealing chapters 1, 2 of Title 5 and adopting chapter 5 administrative departments.
A motion from Sean,
Second.
second from Ted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Chair votes in the affirmative.
Motion to table TC 105.
Second.
I have a motion from Sean, a second from Ted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Chair votes in the affirmative.
Motion to table proposed revisions to municipal code, Title 1, chapter 29, adopting chapter 20, code of ethics.
Second.
A motion from Sean, a second from Ted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Chair votes in the affirmative. All right. Is that
That's it.
okay? All right. So that gets us into. And
Mr. Chair,
absolutely.
when we table this, when is the next time it comes back up?
It's on the table, so
What does that mean?
means-
Explain to people like me and people in the audience
So-
who are not political junkies. who
so
don't
it's
know
it's
what it
on the
means.
table, meaning it can come off the table at any point. It just needs a vote of 3 council members to take it off the table.
So what does that mean?
It means nothing's
Means
going to
it's
get
on-
done.
It means it's on the table. No, it doesn't mean that. It means it's just on the table.
Table for what though? Are we going to discuss it? What are we going to do with it? You're just going to
It's
table
just
it?
it's just on the
gonna let it
table
sit there?
until further notice. Yeah.
You're just going to let it sit there, things that need to be addressed. I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah.
We're going to let,
Let me
We-
explain.
we-
Let me explain.
Okay. But
So-
but you
I mean, they're not perfect, but I had questions on all of them.
you're
but
not.
I thought this was like to table it for discussion.
We would prefer the town manager to focus on managing operations of the town under the town council direction, not crafting policy.
So
But we're not
Wait a
discussing
second.
the tabling motion right now. It's just
I don't
hold on.
understand.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
I mean,
So-
No, we got to have a discussion. Sean.
but you're not allowed to discuss tabling motions.
Okay.
So it's just we tabled it. It can come back at any point. It can come back later in this meeting if 3 councils decide to bring it back.
and there's not a majority of 3 count.
Just saying.
I don't understand. So he put these 3 things forward. You say we discussed. I had
I
no
didn't say
idea.
we discussed. I didn't say
No.
anything like that.
No, we didn't discuss
I'm just
anything.
giving you an explanation of my thought on it.
So
Personal
you
thought
had a
on it.
thought to do this, and you understood his thought. Ted, did you understand his thought? Did you know what he was doing and why he was doing it?
No.
We don't need to keep going down
I know.
this sort of
Is
discussion.
this
I
no-
just
Move
don't
on to the next item of the
understand.
meeting.
Okay, I'm just so a tabling motion means it goes on the table and we can bring it back at any point.
But you can't. We can't. Only you can't. You 3 can because
That's not
us 2
decision.
can't.
Let's move on.
That's rude,
No,
Sean.
I'm just-
I'm trying to understand
I'm-
something. You're being very rude.
So
You say you want a nicer
No,
board.
I am.
I'm trying
So-
to understand,
fine. We
and
can
you're
explain it.
you're trying to insult my intelligence.
No, I'm not. No, I'm
We're
not
trying to
that.
understand.
I'm just saying that there's a tabling motion just goes on the table, meaning it can be brought back next week, the week after, it could be back at any point.
But isn't that a violation of our charter that we're not supposed to tell him what to do, or we're not supposed to tell the employees what to do?
This isn't an employee
We're not
thing.
telling
These
the
are-
employees what to do.
And so we're going to operate without these policies.
No, we have policies in place. These are replacements of other policies.
We're just gonna put them
So-
on the table for further discussion down the road, that's all.
To me, it's very important. Well, the ethics one is the one that's really important to me, not for anything.
Yeah.
Okay? A lot of people came to ethics.
Yep.
We had meetings, private meetings, and a lot of town employee worked on it.
Yep.
And a lot of people came as residents to speak on it.
Yep.
We're not even going to have a discussion on it. We're just going to
No.
table it to
We-
God knows when.
That one I actually find the most valid, and I think we should probably take a look at how to take into account that feedback. So I think that one should
just
be
tabling
something
it,
that's,
like I
that
said.
should be something up to discussion for the future in the council.
For a
that
future
one
agenda, that's
specifically.
all.
Yes.
Because I think all of these are important. I have questions, just so you know, on each one, you can see.
Yep.
I have questions on every single one of them. Are they perfect? No. But I thought that's why they were here.
Yeah.
Is so that we could discuss them
We
and
are.
move things forward and become more modern in certain things. Now, I'm not saying what Mr. Mulholland crafted
Yep.
was perfect. I do have questions, but I don't want to see things happen like in the past. You know, keep hearing, things sat aside for 10 years and nobody adjusted them. I don't want to see that ever happen again in our town. I don't know how you guys feel, but
No,
I
no.
thought that was appalling.
Yeah,
and
no, it's just
wrong.
so just
So-
just put on the table for a future meeting.
But can we figure out, because I think we're just going to keep getting longer meetings moving out with more and more stuff, and we're never going to get
I
things
think
done.
I think we need to bring up, like you brought up about the ethics policy and the public input. I think we need to bring them up case by case. I think we need to decide as a council what we'd like, and we can request, if so, we so deem, for him to work on those or do something with them.
So
Right now we're getting these thrown at us, and I think we need to change that.
So I want to put out there, and I'm not sure, Mr. Town Manager, maybe you can tell us the proper etiquette, or one of you guys, because I don't know it. How do we as a board, not violating 91A, with the town manager, get together, either publicly or privately, I don't care, because you know me, and say, this is how we want to direct him? Because right now, I feel blind, and I feel that I don't know what's going on, and I want to move forward. I feel like we've taken steps forward in a positive fashion
Yep.
for the first time, and I want to continue that. So I want to know, how are we going to direct him?
We could schedule a non-meeting to
Yeah.
discuss that.
So when can we do that now?
No, we've got to check our schedules and refer to stuff. I think that's something we can do
I
at a
can-
future date.
Why are you shaking your head at me?
I can.
Absolutely not. So you've seen you ask the question. I know they don't want to hear me, but seeing you ask the question, I've been working on these things, and we've been talking about this for all this time. We've spent enormous amounts of staff time on these things, and now it seems that we've changed the direction. This is the first I've heard of it. So no, if there's public policy issues and you want to direct the manager, you should be doing that in public so they can hear about it.
Okay.
It's not secret scroll stuff. There's no such thing as a non-meeting with that.
Okay.
That's
I'm just
absolutely
asking what I'm
not
supposed
correct.
to do. What should I ask for? Because I want to
You
see
asked for the
things
right
move
thing.
forward.
I'm answering your question.
Okay.
And that is not a non-meeting. That is, when we're talking about public policy, you do that in front of them.
Okay.
You don't get to hide behind the
will-
non-public session statute or any of that kind of business.
You do if we're talking about direction for the town manager, is what I was referencing. So these are where words get substituted in for what the meeting was. The meeting was, as we stated last year when someone said, why can't all five of you just get together and give direction when we were going through
That was
in the
me,
last fall?
by the
Yeah,
way.
and you had asked about that.
I'm
and
so
the
confused.
answer, and the answer to that was a non-meeting with minutes
Yeah.
taken and so forth. So that's why I was just reiterating.
So
the answer
does
to that.
does bad English here? Does one of us have to put each one of these on the agenda then in the future to be able to do this?
They
It's
just table
tabled.
it. They'll just table it.
So it has to be
So,
pulled off the
so
table.
all you have to
be-
do, Deb, is just say,
I'm so confused right now. It's just
Right.
not even funny.
So
Makes
Deb,
no
it's-
sense.
Deb, it's on the table. So all you have to do is say, you make a motion to remove it from the table, and then we vote.
Mr. Chair, I just want to add that I would think that the ethics one would be something that's so important that we would be looking at, especially Councilor Faber, since you've had complaints made against you, ethics complaints that we haven't discussed. You know, we haven't brought that out. We've kept that secret. But, you know, you would,
As as well.
and mine as well. But mine came out. Deb's
I'm
came
the-
out.
I'm the
Yours
queen.
didn't.
I'm the only one who
Yours
gets
is
it out
yours
there in
very
public.
hush hush. You know, but you would think that you'd want to address those with, you know, with an ethics policy, and you know, so we can move forward. But
we're getting into
No.
exactly
Yes,
what you said.
yes,
you didn't
exactly.
want.
We want to move on.
We're not getting into debates.
I still
We
don't
just said we were
understand.
gonna respect the public.
So Deb, I'll end with this. Anytime that this wants to come off the table, we can just bring it off the table with a vote.
So right now, I could just say, I'd like to talk about the ethics code, and then you guys would vote and say no. So I could do this at every meeting, bring each one of these topics up,
you want.
and waste our
Yeah.
time just for you guys to vote
Well-
no on all of them.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if it's a waste of time, but I would like to bring them back at a future point and work on them.
Well, I think it would be good if you gave a timetable. 2
but
months,
that's-
3
Mr.
months,
Chair,
5
can we
months?
please move this discussion
Yes.
along?
All right. So the next thing under new business is I wanted to discuss the Reverend Morrison House and how we wanted to direct the town manager to move forward. Since it did get voted down substantially, do we want him to look at different options or
I think that's a good idea.
any input from you, Dan?
Whatever the three of you decide, go ahead and do it. I mean, it's
Um,
pretty obvious here what's
I'm
going on.
I'm asking you
this
if you
evening.
want to direct the town manager to give us options of what to do.
I would like as many options as possible.
Okay.
I think we owe it to the population out there. There are people who do want it. Yes, the people who voted didn't, but I
Right.
think we need to do what is best at the end of the day. And I think our options should come with the public hearing.
And I
when
think
we're
the
ready to
options
do
should
that.
also include pros and cons of each one.
Yeah.
So we can move forward and look at it.
Details.
You know.
Is that something we could ask you to do, sir?
Yes, but I'd ask you to be more specific about what options you want me to explore.
I've got three in mind. I was thinking the possibility of donating it, the possibility of selling it for $1 to somebody, I guess is another option I had heard from somebody.
Just a
Just the building
some
without the land, or
clarification.
you
Are we
saying
talking
the
about the
land?
building and land, or just the building?
The building.
Just the building,
We'll
so
be
the
clear
town would
about
keep
that, because
the
that's
town would
two
keep the
different
property.
things.
Yeah.
But I just want clarification on that.
So you want me to look at selling a building with land that we own?
Well, a gentleman at the deliberative session I thought had a good idea. He suggested donate it to the Historical Society.
Yeah, I think we should have the
No,
historical
I
society.
thought that was a good suggestion that he had made, and I
barely
didn't know if
take
you
care
could
of
look
the
into
ones
seeing
they've
how
got.
that would happen.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
I think we should have the historical society here and kind
Sure.
of discuss that with them. I think that would be a
Yeah.
good way.
I just that's the kind of thing I'm thinking is this: can we do something like that? Like, what are our options? Because obviously, none of us want to tear it down.
I think that the manager should go and look at every single option he can think of, as well as the ones we can think of that can be thrown out there.
Yeah.
I think if you're looking at selling the building, you're talking about having them move the building? You're going to sell the building and they...
Well, that's what we're asking. What options there are?
Okay. But we want to retain the land? Because I don't think we want to sell that building with the land there. It's
I just think
vital
we-
area of town.
You know, the voters said to us that they wanted us. They didn't want to spend money to do any improvements with it. So I think we need to
look at options. And what we're
We
gonna
kind
do.
of said to the public we weren't going to tear it down. So what are other options?
I just say every option. Just
Okay.
Yeah.
that just
Agreed.
leaves it,
Okay.
you know, for the manager to come back to us.
Yeah.
Say A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Hopefully, there's that
Yeah.
many, and that's it.
And the pros and cons of each option.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would work.
So obviously, because I've spent all this work on these other policies and we're going over them, I need to vote, if that's what you want me to do, with the degree of specificity that you want me to do it.
Okay.
That's fair.
I'll accept a motion to direct the town manager to come back with as many possibilities for the Reverend Morrison house as possible.
So moved.
Do you want to list those possibilities?
It's
No,
not-
because
it's
Deb
not-
wants
it's
to leave
up
it
to
open.
him to do it, Dan.
Okay.
Deb wants to leave it open. I'm fine with that, right?
You never know what he might find.
Yeah.
He might discover something interesting that we don't know about.
I have a motion from Sean,
I'll second that.
a second from Ted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. The next item under new business that we wanted to discuss is discuss if we should ask the town manager to look into, or we should discuss as a council, what we want to do with the anonymous hotline and the anonymous hotline policy.
Mr. Chair,
Is that on
why
the
why
agenda?
aren't these things on the agenda that you're bringing up?
Because there's things that have been mentioned to me that I'm putting on the agenda to talk about as a council, so we can talk about it in public. As we always say, we want to talk about things in public, so let's talk about it in public.
Be nice to know in advance. I have it on the agenda. Public might have some.
I mean, we don't. I just want to talk about it. We can talk about it this week. We can talk about it again in the next meeting. I know Deb has mentioned before that, you know,
It needs parameters.
yeah, it needs something. It needs, if we're going to keep it, it needs some kind of adjustment or
Policy
some kind of
followed.
fix, or because it's costing us a lot of
fortune.
legal money.
Yeah.
And well, I just wanted to see if we could discuss it as a council, and we can always.
Well, I
move
think
it
when
on
it
to a
was-
future meeting if we want.
Mr. Chair, I think when it was first instituted,
Mm-hmm.
there were some guidelines and, you know, on steps on what was going to happen when those things came in. Some of that has been followed, and it hasn't been followed for everything, every complaint. So I have a problem with that. I also have a problem when these anonymous complaints come in, and I think they can be handled without an attorney. But some people decide to spend money on attorneys. So I don't know, maybe as a council, we need to discuss and say, if a person can't put their name to it, you know, we shouldn't be spending money
Or
on
at least if
it.
there's backup documents, Dan.
Yeah,
of that.
if there's
I mean,
backup documents or something like that, I can see it, but, you know,
But somebody who's totally anonymous with no backup that doesn't what they're saying does not violate the charter or the code of ethics as it exists right now, it shouldn't even be considered. It should be acknowledged, but that's it, and just move on. We shouldn't be paying anything to investigate or do anything, in my opinion. Again, this is me speaking for me. I said this from the get-go. If somebody voices something anonymously that has documents, that's, you know, willing to testify, that does violate one of those things, then yes, you take the next step. But that's how I see it. You need to have it clearly done and clearly written for all the options, so there is no question in that every single counselor, administrator, everyone is treated the same and equally at the same process. We get it, we expose, we have a part of the agenda that said, whatever. It's just that everybody should be treated equally and fairly, because right now it's kind of willy-nilly.
And I agree with you. The reason I brought it up is because I feel like we're spending a lot of money legally
Yes, we are.
for anonymous things that sometimes,
Are
you know.
ridiculous.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, please. That's why.
So I think it was well-intentioned from the start. I think it's gotten way out of hand. I don't think we've borne any fruit for it in the last year. I think it's something we tried, and I think we should just remove it. That's my thought on it.
I don't think removing it. I think, you know,
I know.
cleaning it up a little
Yeah.
bit, Sean. I mean, I think that, I don't know, it's these anonymous complaints that come forward, if you can't put your name to it, you know, we've sat down as a council on an anonymous complaint and been told, you don't need to do anything, but then we go out and we hire an attorney anyway and spend all kinds of money. I just think it's Londonderry is not the, probably in another community it might work well. Here, political environment is toxic, and people are using this as a political tool to go after certain people. All right, and it's very clear because it comes out of certain people are, you know, have complaints, and others it's not mentioned. So I that's why I say that.
So that's why I wanted to discuss it then. I want to feel how, like, we want to discuss it in public with everybody.
I don't think removing it. I think we need to follow the steps that were originally put in place.
But the steps originally in place are very vague, and they're left open. And that's, are you
No,
agree,
they're
right?
not.
Like, Deb, I
They're
mean,
not. They're not.
They are vague.
They're not. My understanding is if a complaint comes in, the attorney gets the complaint and brings it to the town manager.
No.
No?
No.
We're doing it back and forth.
See,
I know, I'm just.
Just so you know, this is not a council policy. This is a policy. This is administrative policy, and I have no intention of removing it. This is an opportunity to deal with corruption. Public can make any comments that they wish to, any complaints, and really it's intended predominantly for staff. It's rare that you get one in most places other than here about councils. It's about dealing with corruption and usually paid employees that are involved in public corruption.
And why did we vote to approve it?
You didn't vote to approve it. I did. I have both of those policies, ADM 111 and 126, I approved. You didn't. So the way you handle it is the issue. When I get a complaint that involves a counselor, I give it to you. You tell me what you want to do. It's out of my hands. So that, how you choose to do that, if you want to create policy about how you handle that, complaints about counselors, that's
Yeah,
your
I think
purview. I don't conduct unilateral investigations of counselors. If there's suspicion that there's a crime, I will report to the appropriate law
Well, then I
enforcement
think we just
agency.
remove it when it
But
comes
this
to the
is,
counselors, and he can keep it for
Can I
the
finish
town,
what I was
'cause
saying
we
or
don't
not?
do
Oh, yeah,
it.
no, please, don't continue, yes. Continue,
did that
sir.
change somewhere in the charter or the state statute where I'm allowed to speak?
No, go ahead, sir.
Thank you. So again, how you choose to handle it is up to you. If you say, look, town manager, you're getting these anonymous complaints, we're not going to act on any of those, that is your choice. I'm going to keep those government records, and they will be cataloged in there, and they'll be available from the public when they file a right-to-know request. Same thing when it comes to employees. I'm going to investigate those because I have the authority to do that. And that's one of the tools that you use to deal with public corruption. So it's totally up to you how you choose to handle it once I turn it over to you. But these are administrative policies that I have no intention of changing those.
Sorry.
And that,
Can I ask a question?
absolutely. So the discussion was just to kind of figure out how we can handle it better as a council.
Exactly. That
So,
makes sense.
I think I kind of agree with Deb that we just, maybe I'll put it on the agenda at the next meeting and we can all kind of think about it. And we figure out how we want to handle it
Well,
on
we
our
should
end.
write it up, like a little paragraph, how
Yeah.
you think it should be handled.
Yeah.
And maybe flow it through you.
Yeah.
Everybody send it to you.
Yeah.
Then it can come out in the agenda and
Yeah.
we can just discuss it.
Just be careful because you're going to have a 91A issue.
Yeah, we
now
can't
you have
send it.
conversations between
No,
council.
just send our paragraph to the chair that gets attached to the agenda.
So you wouldn't send it to him, you'd send it to us. and we
Oh,
would
okay,
put
I'll
the
send it to
packet. That's
Yeah,
what
send
you
it
it's
guys.
not.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, so I'll send it to, that's fine.
That's all.
I just want clarification from the town manager. If you get a complaint on a counselor, what's the process?
Goes to
I
Ron.
report it to the chair, and it's the chair's job to deal with that. Whether he chooses to have a non-public session, which for the most part you can't do because you're elected officials, that has to be in public.
Yep.
If there's an employee involved, then he's going to have some confidentiality issues generally with those. But other than that, it's for you to handle. How you choose to do nothing, or tell me to go do this or that, or hire somebody. That's your choice.
Yeah,
For when it
and
comes
to
to
the future
counselors
discussion, we can move on from
and
that.
people you appoint.
All right, so
that's
let's do
what-
that. Let's do,
That's where the
And
breakdown
people
is.
we
Yeah.
and people that we appoint, correct?
Exactly, because I
So
don't.
that also includes like planning boards,
Yes.
conservation. All of those people have to be considered.
So they all come to you. The only ones that go to the attorney are in complaints about me, because someone has to feel that who's neutral. That's the only complaints that go to her.
all right. Well, I wanted to have the discussions and thank you all. Under old business, we tabled that, and we wanted to bring up one more thing under old business. I think at the last meeting, we never continued on until the purchasing policy is finalized with you and Sean. We never finished our motion, so I think we need, as a council, to make a motion to keep the $15,000 in place until you and Sean work on the purchasing policy and get it figured out.
That's fine.
Mr.
That's
Chair,
just my opinion. Yeah.
Sean, could I work with you and him on that purchasing policy? Would that be acceptable to you?
I mean, yeah, I'd actually like to work with you on it.
Yeah.
Just because I know there were,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a lot of issues and things that I brought up, so.
I'd like to get it worked out.
I
so-
actually would like to start with me and you taking a look at it. I just want, just to get a different view. I'd love to do that.
All right.
So
I'm game with that.
I was just thinking at the last meeting, we didn't continue on the $15,000, and I think we have to make that motion. Do we have to make it each time, sir? Or can we make it just as a
Indefinitely?
indefinite until you guys, until all three of you now figure out what the new policy is
Well, I
going to
don't
be?
think it was involving all three of us. I think there were the two of them. But anyway.
Okay.
No, it's
you
all-
should specify.
No.
We'll do all three.
So I will.
wanna do all three.
I'll accept a motion to continue with the $15,000 purchasing limit until the purchasing policy is adopted officially.
Second.
Before you do that, could you just specify the conditions of that?
Under the
'Cause it
same
was-
conditions that they were
Sure.
before.
But just specify what they are. It's important to have that on the record.
Sure. Do you want to make the motion then? So that way it's.
I'm trying to remember
Oh.
all the exact conditions. That was a bit ago.
My concern is if you don't even know what they are, how am I supposed to know? That's what I'm talking about. So that's why
Because-
it's important to get this motion
Oh,
correct.
so the condition was basically just that any purchase over $15,000 you bring before the council until the.
Anyone.
Yeah,
Any purchase.
except for the exception we made was salt. Oil, gas.
We can review the conditions from the last meeting and adopt them. I don't want to play word games with this.
Well, it's important because I don't want to get in a situation where I'm violating the motion that you
Okay.
made, because when I don't know what it is, and that's why I'm asking for clarification.
Okay.
The specificity of
So how
what
about
it
if we
is the
do
rule
this?
is.
We make it the same conditions we had 2 meetings ago when you had made the motion.
And you were operating under them.
And we were operating under that before.
But it was really unclear what those were, too. That's what I'm getting at with all the changes that were made in the different versions. That's why I want specificity. I'm asking for that. And if you don't provide that to me, at least that provides me some
Okay,
degree of
so
protection.
then I'll just say that it was salt, it was oil, it was gas.
Is there any other exceptions you'd like?
Any other exceptions you want to put in there?
So
because I don't want to sit here next meeting and then something comes up and it goes, oh, this was in place, so we couldn't do X. So
that's what I'm about to get into a whole list of those. 'Cause
Okay.
that's the problem with doing this.
Okay.
And doing that on a temporary basis. So that means like the SAU building, I have to stop until the next meeting to give you, because that's
any
when it was
prior approved things, and we had that in the condition too. Anything that's priorly been approved, we don't need to go under this.
I guess I'm just trying to get you guys to work together in a more civil manner.
I don't
And-
see that happening, but that's great.
Mr. Town Manager, do you have a list that?
Well, there is a list in the draft policy, and that's what I'm concerned about. I want to make sure there's a whole list of items that are in there. We've got to be careful about doing this. When you do it on a temporary basis, that's fine from one meet to the next, but now we're well beyond that. And even then, it's like, well, is this what they meant or not? We had to deal with that during those periods of time. That's why I want specificity on this, because you're going to hold me accountable to it. So I want to make sure it's done right.
Okay.
Especially the road that we're going down after what I've already seen tonight. Very concerned
I
about
guess
that.
we could do it according to the conditions of the draft one that I had made. If
Okay.
we want to do that, and it just temporarily, but those won't be final, but those could be the temporary.
And then you guys
until
can work
We
together?
can work to amend them. That actually gives us a chance to see it in practice, and if something comes up that comes before the council,
That's
then we
actually-
can go, cool, we'll change it, we'll put that in. So it won't be final, it'll just be draft for now, and we'll go under those conditions until we finalize.
Of course, I don't have it with me.
No, but I'm fine with that, because that way
I don't have it. So
you
I
both are
don't-
going to work
I don't know
together.
what we're talking about on that draft. That's the only thing. I don't know what that.
Yeah, I
draft
just
is
think
for.
it's a good starting point, and we'll figure it out from there. If we've got to have a list of conditions, that at least was set forward. So I'd say we do it temporarily on the terms of that until we finalize and agree to finalize it as a council. So that would be my motion to do that.
Okay, so make the motion, so
So I make a motion to operate under the terms of my draft purchasing policy until we can, as a council, come to a finalized conclusion. So it'll still be revisions. Those will just be the temporary conditions, just so we have a list of things written down.
okay.
All right, I have a question on
Good,
that. On
sure.
the terms of the purchasing policy. We talking just about the amount of money?
Yeah,
'Cause
that's it.
We're not talking about the entire purchasing policy that we.
Just the amount of money. We just want to be able to know about the
Amount of
purchase.
money, and then with the exceptions in place that are outlined, because I think we did come to some good conclusions on exceptions. And I think if he's asking for a list of exceptions, we can go by those for now. And if they don't work, we also find out when we do the finalize that these don't work and we need further exceptions. So it's a good test.
Can you do that just till the next meeting, Sean? And
Sure.
That way, that way
I'll do it the next meeting,
I can
that's
get to
fine.
look at it and.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I don't.
Why don't we do that?
I don't
Yeah,
have-
that's fine. That's
Usually-
100%.
Usually I have everything
I-
with me.
Listen, let's do
but I
that.
didn't
I'm
bring
good with
it
that.
tonight.
I'm
Let's
good
do
with
that till
that.
the next
So-
meeting.
I'm good with that.
So just make.
Till
your
the
motion-
next meeting.
Till the next meeting. And do I have a second?
I'll second that.
A second from Ted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes affirmative. And I want you guys to work together, please. Let's
Yeah,
try to get
I'd
some.
love that.
It's not just the two of us.
Right, I'm saying.
We're gonna.
I want
do
you
it
two
as-
to talk
as a
and
trio.
then
I'd
work with
rather
Sean.
work with you first.
Well,
and then work
we
with
can
both.
sit down and talk, but at some
But
point, we're
we'll
gonna do
discuss
all
it after.
three.
Yeah.
Yeah, at some point.
And
Because other
everybody
than
work
that, it
together.
can't happen.
All right. We'll all work together. All right. We are down to approval of consent items. I will accept the motion to approve the consent items.
So moved.
A motion from Ted.
Second.
Second from Sean. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Any liaison reports?
I finally got word from the airport director, Tom Malafont. He wishes to give a presentation to the council on April 6th on how well the airport's going.
Excellent. Let him know that I will put him on the agenda before public comment so he can speak and he doesn't have to
wait for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Of course.
We'll give him whatever time he wants to
He
speak.
wanted to come sooner, but certainly tonight's meeting interfered with Manchester's meeting.
Boards and appointments, did you want to do something with that, or do you need to? Because we were keeping them the same, so I didn't know if you were going to say anything about that.
You decided that already?
Oh,
Nothing's.
no, Sean didn't. I
Chair.
decided, but I didn't. We didn't talk about that, did we?
No.
Where did I have that?
All hail the king.
So under boards and appointments, I figured everyone seemed pretty happy with the boards that they had already. So I left them the same. The only thing I changed was I have Ted as the alternate on the planning board.
So basically, I have nothing. Just so you know.
You have
and that's
beautiful-
fine. I could care less.
You have Beautify Londonderry.
And they all happen at town council
Oh.
meetings, so I can't go to Beautify Londonderry, and I can't go to Recreation. And you know what? That's fine. I don't care.
Beautify Londonderry, I thought they just changed their day to Thursday.
Not that I know of.
I will find that out for you. I believe they
So
did.
I have one meeting. How many do you have, Ted? You have school, you have airport, you have...
I
You have CIP as well.
You have CIP also.
Okay, so I have one that's part-time, really. That's fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
You guys want to do all the heavy lifting? That's fine. No, you didn't want to put it out for discussion, Ron. That's fine. You made the decision. All hail the king.
Are you sure you want me on the library? Because you guys have been involved a lot.
Yes, I
more
want you on the library.
'Cause
I want you on the library. Thank you. I'm sorry we didn't do that earlier. Any other liaison reports?
I discussed already on the planning board what we had discussed during that meeting. So that
Okay.
was, again, something that I think would be good for the public to watch.
Okay. Town manager report.
So the library, you saw about the $16,000 for the duct work and also the bonds that were in there. So they can certainly speak to that. If any questions about that, I can certainly discuss it as well.
Any questions from the council? I think the library does a really good job updating the council every week. I really do appreciate the fact that we get a weekly update on the library, and it's very much appreciated. So please continue.
Well, that requires action.
Oh yes.
Yeah, we need a motion, right?
Okay.
We
For
need a
that
motion
money.
for that.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
That we, how much is it?
I thought it was 16,680 if I had the right number.
Because it's over the 15.
It was 16 something.
Yep.
Yeah.
16,000.
I think it's 16,680 if I remember right.
I'll
That
make a
includes the
motion that we
bonds.
approve 16,685 for the work that's being done at the library.
I have a motion from Dan.
Second.
Second from Ted. All those in favor say aye.
Just
Oh,
so we're clear, that's on top of the 257.
Yep.
I want to make sure you.
Yep. Yep.
So what you're doing is you're authorizing me to expend, okay, the 257 plus the 16,680.
Yes. Do you need that in the motion?
We just did that.
Well, no, I want to
Oh.
make sure you knew.
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
you-
Yes,
that's all.
thank you.
No, that's, yeah.
Okay.
So I have a motion from Dan and a second from Ted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Anything else?
Yeah, I talked to you about the Procopia development.
Oh, yes.
We just need to schedule, I would suggest we should schedule a meeting before the April 6th meeting to go over that.
Okay.
With legal counsel to go over that draft agreement on that.
Yep.
And make sure you understand the details of that before you go into that public meeting. 'Cause that's when
Absolutely.
you would ostensibly approve that if you concur with the process with that. So you need to kind of tell me when you think you want to do that, because I got to line that up with the town's legal counsel.
Do you have time tomorrow morning at like 8, 7 a.m., something like that? I'll call you. We can work it out. All
Let me
right.
just take a look real quick at where I'm supposed to be at 8 a.m. tomorrow.
All right. 7 is fine too.
7 would probably be better, but let me
All right.
just check real quick with you. Yes, actually 8 works.
Okay.
That's a holiday tomorrow, you know that, right?
It is a holiday for any. Yes.
Unfortunately,
That's
it's not,
Yeah.
paid off holiday, but.
Should be a holiday.
So as long as you're willing to meet on a holiday to have that discussion,
Yes.
I have no problem with that. So 8 o'clock, does that work for you?
We'll schedule that. Yeah. And then
you're
we'll
going to call me or just come in pro? We
I'll
just
call
talk
you.
about a date.
Or either one.
Yeah.
Depends if you want to see my face.
Well, you do have a last name of Dunn,
Yeah.
which sounds a bit Irish.
It is Irish. And then we can figure that and then send it out to
Yeah.
the council. Perfect.
Yeah.
Anything else? Or?
That was it, other than I would go over the next several meetings, but I think all that really is up in the air right now as to what we're doing in the next several meetings, so I won't go through that.
Okay.
We'll clear that off the agenda because I don't know where we're going next. So I don't know what you want to do at the next meeting.
We will discuss. And then tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., you and I will discuss. How's that?
On the holiday.
There's no deputy town manager report tonight. So I'll open public comment.
Are you gonna set goals again, or no goals?
You know what?
No, we don't need goals.
We should do
Would
that.
have been a good conversation.
Ray Brisson, 3
Sir?
Gary Drive. I think you want to stick to what you'll be discussing tonight, but there was discussion about the Morrison Meeting House, okay? I was on the committee. As far as I know, the committee has not been sunsetted unless somebody wants to tell me it has been. Does anybody know?
I do not know.
I believe that committee was sunsetted.
Yeah,
Well,
a couple years ago.
Has it been or not? I'm asking.
I think we authorized it for a certain period of time.
Yes.
No, no, I need a more
Ray,
specific
I'll get
answer.
back to you
Please.
with an official answer.
Okay, you can get me official answer. Okay, fine. Okay, so that was turned down. The Warren article failed. Okay, not surprising by anybody. Well, not surprising by me. Okay, because all the other things were on Warren articles that people are dealing with, which a lot did pass, important things. Okay, and if the general public looking at that, that was not the top of their agenda. As a matter of fact, it wasn't the top of my agenda, but I did vote for it anyway. But here we are, not knowing what direction we're going to take at this point, okay? Now, I went up to the home and
Barn.
up to,
The barn expo.
yeah, there you go.
You're welcome.
The House and Barn Expo. Where was it?
I don't know. I didn't go.
Okay. It was up in Manchester.
I knew it would happen, though.
Okay. Now, I'm going to try to keep this brief, but we have a situation with that building. In the town center, if we want to call that the town center, because it pretty much is. Maybe it's not as nice as everybody else, but it's the best we're doing. Okay? It's historical. History is important. Okay? We have spent a lot of money on hiring engineering groups to come in and give their opinion. And at this point, we still don't know what the situation is with the foundation. Okay? Most important thing, any building, particularly an old building, is the roof and the foundation. Anybody knows that, okay? We don't know. We should know. We had a committee to discuss that. We went through all that. And then we brought it through the town council that we thought it was a good idea that it be put out to an engineering group, which was done, and that it was put out to another engineering group, that it was done, and they still didn't get under it and determine what the situation with the foundation, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you what should be done. We should get the right people to do it, okay? Now, the concern is how much money is going to cost. Now, let me tell you a little quick story. The town of Rollinsford, which is up by Dover, really small town, had the Wentworth house, not Governor Wentworth, but one of the family. Beautiful house. And it fell into disrepair. And the family wanted to tear it down. A gentleman from Massachusetts, with a lot of money, came up, they took the thing all apart. They took it down to Massachusetts, they put it all together, a beautiful house. And that guy passed away. And then it just sat there. And the town of Rollinsford, small town of Rollinsford, not a lot of money, not a rich town, got together. And they did the proper thing. First off, they put it on the State of New Hampshire Register of Historic Buildings, which we had an opportunity to do, but we decided not to. Wait a minute. Okay? So, they also went to L-Chip. Make a long story short, they did the right thing. They got the money. They got the building all disassembled, marked every piece, brought it back up there, put it all together, and now it is a beautiful building that is being used occasionally by the general public, historic building. That's the way things are done right. That's the way we should do it. That's the way we still have the opportunity to do it.
Right, you get 15 seconds.
I got how long?
15 seconds.
15 seconds, I'll write. Okay. And I would suggest strongly, we have an option. The reason the thing was shot down because the people, with all the other burdens they have, they weren't going to pass that. Not surprising, okay? But the building still should be saved if you do it the right way. Please, let's do it the right way. We have the opportunity.
Thank you, Ray. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Anybody else with public comment? Good evening.
Marge Broy, 189 Litchfield Road. Follow up with Ray. It might be good to put, to have like a suggestion box that the public can give their ideas on ways that we could preserve the meeting house without being paying with taxes.
Yeah.
I keep saying, what's the problem with corporate sponsors? We seem to shy away from that. What if we had a group, friends of the meeting house that fundraised and took it on themselves? I think there's options out there that we might not have considered yet, and somebody's thinking of it, and somebody maybe has the skills to know that they could chip in and get it done.
Yeah.
So I think having the public input might be good.
I agree. Thank you. Anybody else with public comment?
Right there, right there.
I'm not in a hurry.
Yeah. It's early.
Yeah. Good evening.
Hi, Robin Stewart, 522 Mammoth. Sean, did you say that to tell the planning board to consider getting a different? Okay,
Yeah,
can
just,
you ask
yeah.
Sean
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
he can, if
Yeah.
that's what he said? 'Cause couldn't quite hear what you were saying.
Yeah, no problem. Can I answer?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so that's within their purview. So, like, we could make a suggestion to the planning board, but the planning board has to ultimately decide.
So will you make that suggestion?
I can talk to them about it. They just have to do, and we should probably discuss it, I think, at some point as a council and
Yeah.
see. So I think there's some more thoughts on that, but it's a good thing to bring up, so.
So is that something we would discuss publicly? Should it be put on the agenda? Or
We could
like
talk
the other
about
one?
that. Yeah, we
I mean,
could-
I'm
we
just
could talk
saying.
about that next meeting. Yeah,
You've
that'd
got to
be a
bring it
good-
out.
Yeah.
I just want to do it the right way.
So Wednesday night's meeting, the big question that came that started all the hoopla was who's thinking about what's best for Londonderry, and the planning board gave its version of that answer. So coming here tonight, that was my main question, because when I started coming here a year and a half ago, that was the question: why isn't anybody listening to the residents? And then I started coming too often, but tonight is a real prime example of who's caring about Londonderry, because this behavior tonight has just been horrible. Tabling the things, the ethics, I went to those meetings. All of you could use a good ethics policy to follow, because this was horrible. Mr. Mulholland was trying to speak and you guys were speaking over him. At least the courtesy to listen. You don't have to agree with people. I don't understand why disagreements can't be done and worked out. We're adults in private and not in front of here. And here we should be caring about what's important for Londonderry, what's important for the people of Londonderry. And Deb's the only person I heard say that tonight. The only person who, I don't even remember what it was, but you said we should be asking the residents. It seems like everybody's lost track of that. Everybody has their own egos and agendas, and what's important to us who come here, who voted you guys in. And Ron, I do appreciate you continuing to try and use your leadership to get people to work together. That's really important. But y'all have to start doing that, because we're not getting anywhere, and that's not why we come here. You see this room's pretty much empty, and that's probably going to be that way for a while after Wednesday's meeting, because nobody knows what to do. And then if they watch these, because a lot of people do watch them and they talk about them, this behavior just isn't very professional, and I hope that that's going to change. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in public comment? Sorry. Come on up, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Brian McDonald, 6 Piccadilly Circle in Londonderry. I'm here to speak about the Lions Hall situation. I've spoken with the town manager about this. One of the solutions, possible solutions, that I would ask you to consider is something from the Braver Angels. That's a national organization working to depolarize our country so we can speak together, disagree civilly. You don't have to agree, you don't have to change your minds or anything, just be able to talk civilly. And that's their basic goal. Lately, they've figured out that, hey, this is great that people can talk to each other, but let's work together again. And they have a relatively new program called Citizen-Led Solutions. And that's perfect for the Lions Hall. People get together, you have to figure out how to disagree more civilly ahead of time, but then once you do that, you can sit down and you can talk about the whole situation and find common ground and a good solution for this building. So I would ask you to consider that. Go to braverangels.org. And look, you have to go to in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little magnifying glass. That's a search button. Type in Citizen-Led Solutions, and you'll go right to it. And it's an amazing, amazing program. I think there's 4 examples of it on the website of what they've done in other towns. And this is what we need to do here, please.
Excellent. Would you be the contact person for that?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
Yeah. B. MacDonald
Okay.
at braverangels.org. MacDonald. In fact,
no, because thank you. I've worked with Braver Angels at the State House, and they do a fabulous job of bringing people together. So I would be very interested in speaking to you.
Love one. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you guys are a fabulous organization.
very good.
Seriously,
Yes.
you guys work really well.
I was at one in December. They did.
Yeah.
Having difficult conversations with colleagues.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, a fabulous organization. I would absolutely.
Whoa, hey now.
Welcome
You
you.
own
Welcome that suggestion. So, no. Thank you for speaking up tonight, sir. Thank you. Anybody else in public comment?
I got one, but thank you, Brian.
That's awesome. Good evening, sir.
Glenn Douglas, 6 Overlook Ave. Question, seeing as how we add stuff to the agenda. We have a rumor that the chair of the library trustees resigned. It's not a rumor, they resigned. So I'd like to know what the process is of filling said position. She's still listed on the town website. It's been confirmed by the town manager that she did resign. I asked Councilor Dunn if she had resigned, and he chose not to respond to me. I asked when the resignation was turned in, he chose not to respond to me. Not surprised. Second one, I'm going to give a shout out to, I run a website called the Town Underground, and there's this new website in town called the Londonderry Town Blunderground. It's a satire site that basically attacks, 3 people in this room, these 2, and Mr. Mulholland. Strangely, I put in a 91A request for complaints made on the anonymous complaint line. And the Town Blunderground seems to have, they're good. I mean, they're rambling, day drinking spiels that you can't even understand. But they talked about how this anonymous thing is really not a good idea and we need to get rid of it. I just find that striking, seeing as how there's 3 people up here who have family members that just think that site is awesome. We all talk about being nice, but we have this site that everyone thinks is great. We have Councilor McStumpy. I forget what your name is.
I don't know, I don't go to it.
They don't attack 3 other people. You know, they attacked the town manager. It's really interesting, Ron. Really, really interesting. So I can't wait to see tomorrow's episode and see what gets leaked out to them.
Thank you. Anybody else with public comment? Good evening, sir.
Evening.
How are you?
Good, thank you. Dan Gore, 8 Lane Way. So along with Ray, I did serve on the Reverend Morrison Meeting House Committee, and I do want to make sure, I'm glad that you've directed the town manager to think of other options and how to move forward. I would encourage Sean and all of you to not just keep rehashing the same things. We spent a lot of time on the committee. We did have opportunity for the public to give input on options and things that could be considered, and for months, and they all were considered. The conclusions that we came to were pretty much the warrant articles that you all ended up with, you know, either a really, a sort of a Band-Aid, I think was the term used earlier tonight, of almost $1 million just to get the building open and usable again, and then, 3 to 4 times that to actually make it truly viable. And the voters were, it was about as overwhelming as you can get, as to what the public thought of those two options. So I don't think it is in anyone's best interest, including the historic building itself, to just keep rehashing those same old options. Like, we need to get creative and think of something completely different, because otherwise we're just going to spin our wheels. And it's only falling into further disrepair, because that's just the nature of organic materials over time. And so if we just keep spinning our wheels, it'll sit there until it falls down. So that would be my encouragement to the town manager and to everyone to don't rehash what we've done, where we've been. Let's get creative and think of something new.
Thank you. Anybody else with public comment? Seeing none, I will close public comment. I will accept the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion from Sean.
Second.
Second from Ted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes in the affirmative. Thank you all.